Welcome,
Hey.
welcome to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. I am your host, Lionel McDonald. So, we've been working on this one for a minute. We've been talking. Shout out to my boy Dre. Dre, we're gonna have to have you on the next one, but hey, it's the holidays. I got my holiday shirt on. There's been so many different things that have happened during the holidays, and schedules is always a thing. But we've been talking about for some time and kind of got inspired by a couple different videos that both Dre and our guest today, Professor, otherwise known as Uncle Skoola. So, welcome to the pod, Unc.
Yeah, man, what's going on, man? I appreciate you
Happening.
having me. You feel me on this Friday evening? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I appreciate you, man. We've been working on this for a minute, man. We finally got it lined up, man. So happy to
yeah,
be
we
here.
do. We
Okay?
do. We finally got it to happen. So,
You know what I'm
the
saying?
topic we're going to talk about today is the top 10 sneaker releases, the OG edition. So, this is for the OG heads. This is no collaboration. There's no Travis Scott that's on this list. We're going to do what would be inspiring to the OGs. But before we get into that, Unc, let's talk about, let's break it down for the people and talk a little bit. So, maybe you can share a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what was your sneaker journey like to kind of get to this point.
Man, but like you said, man, I go by Professor Skoola, you feel me? That's on every platform. From Dallas, Texas, you know what I'm saying? A lot of cats think Texas slow or whatever. I'm happy to represent for the South, for my state, for my city, because a lot of cats not on this from where I'm from. This is more of I really got a lot of homies from like DMV, Jersey, New York that really tap in with me because they relate more than where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? So happy to be from the South and put on for the South. They let them know, hey, this still was a thing here as well. So um that's where it come from, man. Me growing up in the 90s, whether it was my family, whether it was TV, whether it was sports, all of it had something to do with the shaping of what I'm into and what I make videos about. So been a big fan, been a student, still as a student of the game, and now I am a professor and I teach the game, you know what I'm saying?
There you
So
go.
you
There you
know
go.
it's definitely been fun, and man, I enjoy it, man. I just enjoy being a part of the sneaker community. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right. So if you're not following Professor or Uncle Skoola, you need to be following on IG. He's got one of the best followings we have on IG in the
Oh
sneaker
man.
community, holding it down for Dallas. Although I'm a Commanders fan, so we don't like the Cowboys, but hey, we're gonna let that slide tonight.
And we
We're
let
gonna
that
let
slide
that
tonight.
slide. So
We let that slide tonight.
one of those things about, again, he's got like 70,000 strong. We need almost need a name of your following. Maybe we just call them students of the game.
I just call them homies, because
All right. All right. We call
I
them the
got a lot of
homies.
I got a lot of OG homies just like you
Yeah.
who really know this and really do this and been doing it, man. And really, what my content has done is what it was made to do. When I started doing content, maybe like 2 years ago, it really wasn't a representation of 90s sneakers vintage nowhere. Like I couldn't find it on the internet. I was scouring the net. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and I'm like, I see all these guys making these videos about the same shoes. And I'm like, I don't wear those shoes. I don't buy those shoes, but I'm like, where the homies at? You feel me? Where the OGs at? I know they out there.
Yeah.
I know they exist. I wasn't raised born in the 90s. I mean, in the 80s and raised in the 90s myself. So where they at? And when I started making videos, slowly but surely, the homies started coming out. Like, here go my collection. Here go my collection. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
so many guys out there that collect that might not post, that don't make videos. And I have really encouraged a lot of those guys to like make some kind of content. You ain't got to sit in front of the camera and talk, but I'm like, bro, if you got a golden collection, you must share this with the world, man. And I am so happy that I have met so many dope homies and inspired them to start showing that heat. Cause I'm like, bro, this is lost art. This is history right here. Some of this stuff
100%.
never came back out, never coming back out. And if
Yeah.
you got some, you need to show them. And I'm just
Yeah.
a face and voice to that part of the sneaker world, because it's a big ball when it comes to the whole sneaker community, but we not all on the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you got so many lanes in the sneaker world, and I'm like, this is our lane, and I'm just representing for our lane, you know. And man, it's been crazy. The following been crazy. Oh my God, I love it, man. That's what make it fun, man. You know, the
Yeah.
people. Without the people, I mean, what you
Yeah.
doing? You know what I'm saying?
But you make it fun because of the content. So and if you haven't watched any of his videos, you definitely have to tap in. Like the takedown video, and because I see in the back corner, I look at the shoes you have in behind over your left shoulder there, you got the way up, which was a takedown. I see the Diamond Fury there. I see
Yeah.
for
I'm
those that
just
are
getting
watching
stuff.
on YouTube,
Yeah.
DT96, but he's got like a white and blue one, which was a hard one to find.
That's hard.
But
It's like '07. Yeah, man.
yeah, yeah. So like,
The wall
what's the
art.
inspiration to the content that you create? How do you where do you tap it into these to find these amazing ideas? Like, and these are
Uh,
all like original ideas.
bro, I try to stress that. Like when I'm talking to some homies, I'm like, in this day and age, it is hard to be original, to
Yeah,
come up with original things. And I'm like, I really think about the content that I'm dropping. Like even when I started doing content, I was like, okay, I need a formula. All right. I don't want to be like nobody. I'm not doing what other people are doing, you know, but we do still get inspiration from everywhere, you know. And I'm like, all right, I want my stuff to be different. I want to look how I look. I wear vintage clothing. That's already give them some visually popping to make somebody stop and be like, okay, what are you talking about? You know, be informative. Have a product to show versus just talking about it, like really showing them that I really live this life. I think that's
yeah.
important too, because a lot of cats can do green screens and they don't even live this life. And I'm like,
No,
I need to show y'all that I live this life. It's right here. I'm giving you game. I'm being entertaining. You know, I try to let my personality shine through my videos, whether I'm being funny, whatever, you know, just have fun with it. And I had that formula, and I'm like, I use that same formula when I'm thinking about videos. Like I got a segment like the officials versus unofficials. Nobody ever talked about that before. You
that
know,
one
that
was
game about,
crazy. People were upset.
bruh,
It's like, what do you mean this is not an official?
I still get comments right now, and that was
Yeah,
months ago.
yeah,
The takedown, like you said, the highs versus lows, ruining your childhood. That was another one I did where it's like, you know, giving game about shoes that you thought was
yeah,
something, you know, so it was just stuff. I'm like, nobody's talking about this, and I know this stuff. I'm like, and I know other people know this stuff, so I'm like, man, this is what it's all about. Coming up with original stuff, man, and just hoping that the right people get a hold of it, man. And that's what's been happening, man. The right
yeah.
people have been getting it. So,
Yeah, yeah, you definitely blessing us with some
man,
crazy knowledge, and again, like the OGs are coming out of the woodwork
woo,
to engage, and again, like sometimes OGs, and again, I'm one of them. We don't say anything. We just watch. We're just observing. But when you start speaking our language, we
yeah,
all about that. We in it. We're in
yeah,
there
I'm
like
telling
swimwear,
you,
right? So,
all I wanted, man. That's all I wanted. I'm like, because my brother Revenge of the Sneakers. I don't know if you know him or you follow him, but Revenge of the Sneakers is another homie. That's my brother, man. We live up the street from each other. We've been down for about 7, 8 years now since we met, and he was already on that. So when we
mhm,
met, I mean, it was like we was already living that life. We just didn't know each other. And his collection is crazy. And I was like, bro, it's more of us out there, dog. We everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just somebody got to put something out there to bring us together. And I'm
yeah,
like, bro, I'll be that dude. Why not me? I'm like, I'm original. I know
yeah,
what I'm talking about. I still learn stuff. That's another thing, you
yeah,
know, you never stop learning, man. You'd be amazed at some of the stuff that I'm still finding out, or even some of the shoes. Cause it was so many shoes in the
yeah.
90s, dog. It's like,
Like they were
it,
not even documented.
bro,
So like,
it's shoes that came out for a piece of time and never came out again, and a takedown of a takedown of a take. They didn't get no love, but
yeah,
existed, and it was dope. So I'm like, finding that stuff, going down that rabbit hole. I'm like, I love to go down that rabbit hole, find some stuff, bring it back to the surface, and show my people, like, look what I found down there.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I love it, dog. It's been fun, man. I still got more original segments, is what I call them. I still got more coming out, man. I still come
yeah.
up with more, man. So
All
yeah,
right, that's amazing. We can't wait to hear what else you got cooking in the chamber for us. But
yeah.
let's get into today's topic. So again, as I mentioned, for those that have jumped on, and again, this is available. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify. This video version will go up on YouTube, but we are going to get into 2024, the top 10 sneakers, the OG edition. So, Skoola, why don't you give us your number 10 shoe and maybe just to give us a brief synopsis of why that's number 10.
So I did a list of this sort on my page, and I did top 10 90s retros of 2024. 10 shoes that came out in the 90s that retro this year. And at number 10, I had the Flight Posits.
Okay.
A lot of people got on my head about that, especially New York cats. They like, bruh, you tripping on the Flight Posits. But I'm from the South, so I'm like, you know, that's another thing too. Depending on where you from, these shoes hit different. You know what I'm saying? Like this shoe behind me, these Tim Duncans. I'm like, bro, when I wear that shoe down here, people look at me crazy. Like, why you got them space boots on? They don't get it. But all my cats on the East Coast, they like, bro.
We all about that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, it depends on where you from, how that shoe gonna hit. Because I said, if that shoe was to retro right now, nobody down here gonna buy that shoe.
Yeah.
It'll sell out in the DMV, in Jersey, in New York, in Boston or something. But here, that shoe will sit till the end of time. And so number 10, I had the Flight Posits, man. Nice shoe, great hooping shoe. That was when basketball shoes started to kind of change. That 2000, 2001, right in there, that's when it started getting more futuristic with the shoes, the materials, and all that. That's when the style really, really changed. Like it was changing in 98, 99, you know, even with the total posit. Like it started to change from the stylish stuff that we knew and loved that wasn't so much technology based and started going towards more the technology base, you know what I'm saying, for the sports wear and really on court wear, but you can still style those shoes. But that's when the game started to change a little bit. And, you know, with the shocks and all that kind of stuff, the new stuff started to come in. So number 10, I had the Flight Posits.
All right. So on my list, I had the Fear 4. So for those that don't know, like the Fear 4 is part of a pack. It's 3 shoes, Fear 3, Fear 4, and Fear 5. The Fear 5 in Canada was the hardest one to get. There was limited pairs. We scrambled to find that pair. In some stores, they didn't even get all 3. They only got 2. They only had the 3 and the 4. So the most coveted one is the 5 because of its scarcity. The 4 was probably, in many people's eyes, the ugliest of the 3. But we are now in 2024. And everyone's all about 4s. We've been all about 4s since probably 2022 during the pandemic. So I love the shoe. I'm a huge 4 guy. Probably have like 40 different silhouettes of the Jordan 4.
Right.
I'm definitely about this one, but I think now to see it come full circle and come out again in 2024, it's so interesting. Those that were the OGs, so this came out in like 2005. Loved the shoe, bought it right away. But as we've seen more and more, 4s are sitting on shelves.
Man, like crazy.
It wasn't until like Christmas where people need to put something under the tree, all the 4s like evaporated from the marketplace. They're gone everywhere. And it was funny. It was like, and I work in retail the last 3 or 4 days. Oh, do you have the 4s? And it's like, what for? Like Fear 4? And it's like, yeah, it's this. And it's like, you want that now? You could have had that last month. Easy.
You got a deal on it too. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So this is one that came out in November, and I did a video about just some of the OG heat that kind of came out in November between that and then the olives, and then obviously we had black cement. So November was an amazing month. You know, I had all of those already in my collection. I didn't have to touch nothing. I'm just, hey, let's put these in the rotation. Let's start wearing these like a week early before everybody else was wearing it, and everything was lovely. But I had the Fear 4.
I'll be hosting sneaker shows here, and the Fear 4, it tripped me out because that shoe, nobody was paying attention to that shoe when it dropped. Like, so when I was in the building, the Olive 9s had just dropped, the Columbias was getting ready to drop, and the Fear 4s had just dropped, and I'm like, nobody was checking for the 4s, man. Even the 11s, like nobody was checking for them. Like a little bit on the Olive 9s, but it was I think it's Travis Scott Velvet. That shoe was in there as well. They were really going in on that one. But the J's, I was like, what's up, y'all? Not feeling the Fear 4s and nothing. And it's like they wasn't feeling them. And so what you just said, I'm like, they were just sitting there. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
It was a trip, man. It was a trip, man. You know, it's a different time right now with sneakers.
Yeah, so kind of wild that that one just kind of sat out there and no one was on it. But let's go to number nine. Give us your number nine.
Number nine, I had the Reebok above the rim.
Oh, love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
that
Love
was
it. Love
not
it.
very
Love it.
slept on shoe. I think it could have went higher, but nobody was jocking for it, man. That's a
Yeah.
great shoe, classic colorway, can't miss. I mean, goes with everything. Great design, movie, everything. But nobody bought them. Like
Yeah.
nobody bought them, man. It's crazy. That was my number nine, man. Above
Yeah.
the rim Reeboks.
Okay. And I like that one. I remember the time when I was wearing those in the 90s
Right.
on the blacktop. Like that in the blacktop Reeboks
Yeah.
from early 90s, like I think 91 or even 90.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was balling in those in high school before I went to the pumps. Because right at that juncture, Reebok had the sneaker game in a chokehold.
Yeah,
Like
man.
it was crazy.
It was insane, bro. It
Yeah.
was insane. And those shoes still hit. They still hit, man. Like people are still waiting for Kevin Johnson's. People are still waiting for
Yeah.
Larry Johnson, some of the Converse. People still waiting for more.
React juice.
Like that whole time of Reebok, Converse, like they had heat. I mean, Nike was always doing their thing, but man, those other brands was going crazy, man. Reebok and
Yeah.
Converse was going crazy at that time, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. So at number nine, my number nine, I have the Christmas KD4.
Okay.
So that was, again, for the OGs, the early, I would say like the early 2010s. So we're talking 2000 or 2010 to like 2014 when we had LeBrons, we had Kobe's. We ultimately got to the point where the hottest shoe in the game was Kyrie shoe. You could
Kyrie was
not
going
keep that
right.
in stock. It was crazy, every color, and every kid wanted it. And then we went to Curry's. So it was a very interesting time, specifically when Nike basketball kind of made almost like a renaissance from the years of having, I look behind you, we had Jason Kidds, we had Pippins that are not Pippins, we had Pennies, and obviously we had Jordan sneakers. So it was amazing to see it come full circle and all of those shoes. So
Yeah.
and it was so sad to see, you know, this in years past that there really isn't a Christmas release. Like that was something we used to get excited about on Boxing Day. We would look at the shoes that were worn on Christmas Day, and then they would be in stores. There would be Kobe's, there'd be LeBron's, there'd be KD's. So this KD4 was incredible.
Yeah.
I look at how much it's worth now. It was like $236 at one point. It's a
Yeah.
155 now on StockX, and no one is interested in it. But the OGs and the heads are definitely about this shoe,
Yeah.
specifically the KD4. We've seen threes and fours now come out in the last 2 years, and the shoe does not get enough love when we talking about it. And it's really the OGs that weren't even balling in it. Maybe they were balling in their early 40s or late 30s, but
Right.
kids have now moved on to that they want to ball in AE1s. They want to
Yeah.
ball in Curries. They want to ball in
Uh,
Kobe's now. Kobe is the flex
I
goods now.
see
It's the number
my
one shoe.
son.
People are
My son
balling in
play ball.
Sabrinas now. So
Yeah, my son play ball. I see a lot of Lamelos,
yeah,
Hardens. Like it's real diverse. When it comes to that, man. Like right now, and I like that, man. I like that. Every brand getting some, Puma getting some, and Reebok getting some, and because all those they all make good shoes. I mean, they all make good hooping shoes to actually ball in. Some of them might not be as appealing on the eye, but the performance of the shoes, even with New Balance with Kawhi, I see De'Aaron Fox just signed with Curry. Those are crazy too. Like what Kyrie is doing now. Like it's so many good hooping shoes out there. I like to see, what's going on right now in the game, man. That early 2010 era you talking about, that's that like House of Hoops era, you know what I'm
you
saying?
got it,
Like
baby.
it was
No doubt.
crazy back then, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like now, let me just say something real quick. I have never had a pair of KDs or Kyrie's or
Okay.
LeBron's or Kobe Nikes. I've never
What?
had those, bro. I've never had a pair of any one of those, man. Even in that era, at that time, I was still buying retros that I still wear. I was still
Mm-hmm.
buying Barclays. I was still buying up tempos, Griffey's. Like I was still into what I was into just because that's what I balled in. That's what I liked hooping in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So even though that stuff was cool, I never got into it. I was still buying what you see now. Like I was still hooping in up tempos. My favorite hooping shoes was any up tempo to ball in 94, 95. Like I bought those shoes over and over because I would dog them out because I hooped in them so much.
Yeah.
So that whole house of hoop era was fun, man. The cutouts used to be in the stores, and you see all this. It was so much heat in the store at that time, man. But I was still into what I was into, man. I can't help it.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, give us your number 8.
At number 8, I got the up tempo 96 Olympic colorway. It's my favorite colorway of that shoe. Didn't get any love whatsoever. That shoe sat, and it's probably still sitting in some places, but great shoe. Love it. Got a pair. I love that shoe, man. Olympic 96 up tempo. Number 8.
All right. I got on my list at number 8. We'll call it not the military blue, but the industrial blue.
Industrial.
Jordan 4. So this was, if you look at the old box from like 05 and 04, this was the off-white before off-white was even a thing.
Right.
So this Jordan here, again, it's one of the original colors, but not one of the original colors, the one that they released. They released something very, very close. No different than the Legend Blue is really kind of the Columbia, but not the Columbia.
Right.
At the same point. But this is another one, sat on shelves, readily available. Like if you go into a Foot Locker, a Kids Foot Locker, or JD Sports, this shoe, you could pick this up in kids almost anywhere. It's still available in pre and infant sizes. So this was a special one. Again, like we are in a Jordan 4 era, and people didn't want this one because it wasn't black. People didn't want it because it wasn't white either.
Yeah.
Off-white. So that was my number 8.
I know they got some. I seen earlier that they got another colorway of that SB4 coming out next year. Those red joints, right? They got the red on them.
There's red, and I think there's blue too.
Those joints look sweet, man.
Yeah.
Those joints.
All right. Let's have that number 7.
Number 7, I had the Reebok preseason.
We didn't even see it in Canada.
Yeah, Reebok preseason. Every colorway was a hit. Classic shoe. I mean, nothing bad to say about that shoe, man. I mean, I'm glad they retroed it. They need to retro some more Reeboks like that, like the Big Hurts, other Reeboks like that. But that's another shoe that people really didn't rock with. It's a different shoe, but I think that shoe is flawless, man. Reebok preseason, man. I mean, they came out with like a beef and broccoli colorway, like a green, crazy, man. I'm like, you can't do no wrong with that shoe, man, in my opinion. Great shoe. Slept on, man. I mean, a lot of these shoes from our time, they just slept on right now. It's a different time right now. People wearing runners like crazy. Collab is, I think the collab is really what's doing it. Like, that's really what's doing it, because like every shoe that's dropping now is a collab. Like every shoe, and even these brands that's like not a Nike or Reebok or something like a Saucony or Asics, they doing collabs. Like they doing collabs to really try to get these shoes out there. Crocs. I'm like, it's just collab heavy right now, man. So I think that's another part to play in why militaries or all these KDs, that's why he's sitting, man. I mean, it's the time we in right now.
Yeah, no doubt. So I got it my number 7. You already kind of touched on it, but this is one's very close to my heart, and that is the Flight Posit. So I played in the Flight Posit for years, multiple colors. The copper one, the black one was my go-to, and the reason I wore it, I'm a Knicks fan. Allen Houston in the 90s or late 90s and early 2000s balled like crazy in the Flight Posit. It fits so well. It's like the son of glove or the glove, but it's in the posit form. The midfoot stability with the shank that's there, how it zipped up and how it looked clean, just felt like my jumper was unstoppable when I wore that shoe. So I still have a pair. I still have a pair of black ones. I didn't need to buy a new one. And what is amazing about the shoe is the zoom cushion that's in it from heel to toe. absolute one of my favorites. That one was my number 7.
And I
What's
know
your number
some people
6?
might be like, what I said about the flight pods and why I even have a pair. My guy Malachi, who works for Nike, sent me a pair of these.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't buy this shoe. I would have not bought it. But he sent it to me. I did a video on it. So he
Yeah.
sent me these. And it really is a nice shoe, man. Like this shoe is great to hoop in. I put it on and I was like, yeah, I can feel it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a little bit out of my style, you know, for me, you know, just me.
It's not one for the streets, in my opinion. It's
Yeah.
one to
But
wear on the hard
rock them
court.
hard though. I
Oh
think
yeah, yeah.
the
Oh
coldest
yeah,
colorway.
100%.
I think the coldest colorway to me is that silver and black colorway, man. My
That
partner
one
got,
is fire.
oh my God. I'm like, bro, that shoe do look hard. Like what he
Yeah.
had on with it, I was like, yeah, bro. The silver and black was crazy. And the
Yeah.
white and black was too. Crazy.
Yep. Okay. Give us your number 6.
Number 6, I had the black toes. Black
Okay.
Toe 14 was number 6. I think that was a great retro to come out. The materials was dope on them. When I did the lab, when they first dropped, I was at a sneaker exit I hosted, and having that shoe in my hand, I was like, bro, they did a great job on that shoe. I think it was on point. They did well in the streets. Like people got them. It's a good shoe, man. I think it's a good shoe for every age. It's just a great retro to come out, man.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
And it's a clean colorway. Like it's not
It
like an
is,
olive.
man.
Like you can see the differentiation because you had materials. I love how they didn't do the perforation like they did on the previous pair that they had redone. It was
Yeah.
more like the original one.
Yep.
And it never played in a pair of 14 because I used to ball also in 14s hard.
Yeah.
The herringbone traction on it is phenomenal. Like the floor can be as dusty as you want, and you're gonna have grip all day long.
Yeah, and it's a shoe you can dress up, dress down. Like you can
Yes.
do everything with that shoe. You can wear that shoe with a tux,
Yeah.
man. You
Yeah.
can get married in that shoe, man. You know what I'm saying? Then you go straight to the court in that shoe. Put the
Yeah.
jeans on with it. Like, you know, you can do. It's just a good shoe, man. It's a good Jordan. I mean,
So people don't know about this, but we used to, and probably still do, wear shorts underneath our jeans just in case the
hey,
hoops
it was a
run
thing, man.
broke out.
It was a time, man. It was a time, man. We were ready to ball
2000
on
baby,
sight.
2000 the 90s. You didn't
Hey,
know when it was a run was gonna happen.
I'm
Had to
telling
be
you,
ready.
ready to hoop on sight. What you want to do? That's crazy, man. We did that, man. We did that. I know cats used to wear 2 of them under there. I'm like, bro, how you gonna wear basketball shorts, G? So when I take these off and I hoop, I still got a pearl. You're going too far. But it was a thing, man.
Yeah,
Like
it was a thing.
Hey,
It was
I'm
a
talking
thing.
about every day.
Yeah.
Hooping shorts under the jeans, man. Let's
But
do it.
we wore different jeans though. Like the jeans, you wore big jeans. That's how you could fit a pair of big hoop shorts underneath.
You, bro. I always kept a ball in the car. I always kept some shoes.
I still do.
Yeah, you just had to do it. I mean, it was just the way to anywhere because you just never know what was going to happen when it was going to happen. What court we see? Meet me here, man. Let's go.
Yeah, no doubt. So I got at number 6, the Air Max 180, the Ultramarine. So we definitely saw the Air Max 180 resurface. You know, it's more recently. We see the Joker one. There's that black and like dust colorway, but the Ultramarine is like the OG colorway.
Yes, man.
With where we are with sneakers today and running being such an influence, this is kind of, call it the cousin or the brother of the Air Max 180, the basketball shoe. And that's a shoe that I still like with my daughter who's 9. We go to the schoolyard. That's the shoe that I put on to hoop at the schoolyard. So that's the basketball version, but the running version is the one that came out here. So I think, you know, as Nike tries to continue to find their lane and what works for them and what is the right retro, this is something that hadn't been out a while because they've gone 90s and 97s and 95s and obviously Air Max 1s. And, you know, they've done the big bubble recently, but slam dunk with the Air Max 180 Ultramarine coming out this year. So that was my number 6.
Beautiful shoe, bro. Love that shoe, man. I mean, classic. I mean, especially when you see Jordan rocking them too. Like, come on, man. That meant something. When you see Jordan got them on, we're talking now, man. But you right, man. They went hit. I love when they do some of the other Air Max outside of those signature numbers, 95, the Air Max 1. They went crazy with the Air Max 1. Too far, in my opinion.
Went off.
I mean, they had some great ones. They made weights. I'm like, come on, man. Y'all got other shoes, man. Like, so I love that the 180 got its love. And a couple other colorways as well, too. So, yeah, that was dope. That was dope.
Yeah, there definitely is some other ones. We need like the Burst.
Yeah.
There's so many Burst 2 we need.
Great
We
shoe,
need
man.
the Air Max 96, the Olympic version. Like there's
Yeah.
just some of these that need to see the light of day. And
Right,
the
man. The triad,
OGs, we
like,
know
it's
those
so
are
many, man.
crazy. Those were going off in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, bro. You right about that, man.
All right, so we are big five, top five. Let's get it cracking. Give us your number five.
Okay, at number 5, I had the Air Max Thunder.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I love that that shoe came back out. I love the colorways that they did, very vibrant, men, women. Just a great shoe, man. I recently we seen the kids of immigrant do their thing with them, which
And that
went,
one was
oh,
crazy.
man. I mean, they still going nuts. Nice Kicks actually awarded them the sneaker of the year award, so they went crazy with that, man. I think this is a great shoe, a good retro, like you said, stepping outside of some of those regular numbers of Air Max and really give some of those offset ones some love. And I felt like that was a good one because a lot of people never even knew that shoe existed. I talked to a lot of people, they didn't know, they thought it was a new silhouette. They didn't know that that
Yeah.
was a retro. So I was like, man, I'm glad that they came out with it. I'm glad they did multiple colorways, and I'm glad to see somebody do a collab with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I didn't see that coming, and I thought that was amazing
I
that that
know,
happened.
man. I know it's like they mix two Air Max together. You know what I'm saying? Like the Randy Johnson joints. I can't think of the number right now. My mind's going blank right
It
now.
will come to you. I'm
Yeah,
blanking on the same
but
thing.
the
I don't
Randy
remember, but
Johnson,
Randy
we call
Johnson,
him
we
Randy
called the
Johnson,
Randy Johnson
you know
joint.
what I'm saying? And the Sunders combined, and man, 120, the 120s,
There you
right?
go.
120. And it's just good shoe, man. I can't wait to see the other colorways they do with
Yeah.
that collab, man. But that was my
Yeah.
number 5, the
Yeah.
Sunders.
Yeah. The OG Sunders, you needed the yellow and you had to have the royal blue. Those were the
And those
two for
royal blue
me,
ones was
the you
ones.
had to have.
Whew,
Yeah.
just crazy.
Love that choice. Love that choice, number five. This one is a special one to me, the Lightning 17.
Hey,
So that shoe, and I'm one from the 90s and the 2000s. So as my collection grew, I think I started at Jordan playoff 11, black and red. Then we didn't. I says, oh, I'm going to think I'm gonna get the playoff one every single year. It was just, hey, this is the annual Jordan. So 12, 13, it got slippery.
right?
I got another color. I got the He Got game, and I ended up with the red one. And it's like, oh, I'll get the lows. And then 14 was I tried the 14 on one, the black toes we were talking about earlier, and it was downhill. So like I just started buying every color. But that era, there was only 4 or 5 colors. So it was reasonable to buy 4 or 5 colors of the same shoe
Yeah.
here. So fast forward to when the 17 came out. So we had the royal blue, then we had the black, we had the incredible white and red, which needs to come out in the worst way, and then we had two lows. We had the black one, and then we had the lightning. The lightning is the one that got away.
Yeah.
Never could get my hands on it. Never knew when it released.
Mm.
It was gone. We couldn't get it. So here, fast forward to 2024, it comes out. People are talking about it. And it's just like, come on, this is gonna, if you really want it, you could get it. Every single place that had it sold out immediately.
Mm.
And this is again, I did it on a previous episode. This is Sneakernomics 101, the law of supply and demand.
Yeah.
When there is limited supply and the resellers can see that there's heavy demand because the OGs want it, that we are the ones that drive a lot of this culture still. You may call this old and gray, but we are still the ones that are driving this. When we wanted it, the OGs were all over it. The resellers say, guess what? We're buying up this one. It's not going to be available. Because it came with a case, it's like it's in a stratosphere. It's one of the most expensive regular shoes that came out with no collaborations of the entire year. Can't
Yeah.
get it. I
Yeah.
didn't get it. I
And
never
you,
got it.
and you
It's just going to be
still
the
ain't
one
got
that
it.
never got.
Oh
It's the one
man,
I'm going
come
to
on.
tell the story about that
Oh,
it never got. And I balled in for. I remember I had a pair of 14 or 17s. I wore them for one game, white and red. I had 2 pairs. This is why I did it. Wore a pair for a game. First time I ever wore it. The guy was so enamored. I sold it to him. off my feet like it was like I was a celebrity. Sold it to him because he had to have it. And I said, "Don't worry, I got it. I work in retail. I work at Foot Locker. I have another pair. You can have this one. You can have it at retail. I'm just keeping the case."
Yeah.
And I still have the case. The case is up
That is
there in my living room.
crazy,
Yeah.
man. That's
17,
insane.
baby.
Right off the
17.
feet, I gotta have them. Take them off right now. That's
Yes,
crazy,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. All right. Number 4.
Okay, man. At number 4, I got the Phone Posit 1.
Mm-hmm.
Phone Posit 1 dropped in the Royal a couple months back. This was actually, to be honest with you, my first pair of Phone Posits. That's another shoe that Malachi sent me. I got it somewhere, right? That's another pair that he sent me. Just out of nowhere, just sent me a pair of phones. I was like, okay, cool. And I got them, and I still haven't worn them yet. But my homie was like, bro, you got to put that shoe on. Like just put it on. I know what the phones mean to the game. Like I just, like I said, I'm from the South, not too big on phones down here. Put them on, I'm like looking at them, like, man, this shoe is so clean. And like, I know that shoe went crazy when it dropped. Like I was seeing dudes by the dozens wearing them all together, matching all the, doing all that crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I think that was another good. I know it done retroed a few times, maybe like 4 or 5 times. This might be the 5th time this shoe done dropped. But I did have it on my list because I know what that shoe means to the game, and I think it was a good retro. Definitely ready to see some more colorways. I think we got those red joints coming. The pearls, like it's time for some more.
I think in 25 we got the Galaxy.
Yeah, the Galaxies are coming. So I know those gonna go crazy. Them things had the game in headlock back in the day. So I did have the phones on my list. I got them right there at number 4.
Yeah, it's funny you got it number 4. That is my number 4. So
yeah,
Royal Foam Posits. We
yeah,
had the Coppers that came out at Christmas time.
they did.
We already just talked about that. We have some very interesting other colorways. We need the mirrors. We definitely need the Galaxy one. Those are one of the big energy. I remember the mirrors from All-Star 2015 when I was in New York at that time, and people were lined up around the block in the selected. Like they had a store, a Foot Locker in Madison Square Garden, and there was lineups for hours to get your hands on a pair of Foam Posits.
Yeah.
So this is again, this is one that essentially inspired by Penny Hardaway, not his original shoe, as we've already learned.
Right,
already dropped a joint on us on that one.
But definitely is a penny. It's a penny now.
It's a penny.
Man.
It's a penny.
It's a penny. It's
and,
a penny. Man.
I'm trying to remember, who was it? Was it Mike Bibby at Arizona was the first one. I think it was the first time I saw it. It was in the tournament that same year when we saw him, and I think was it Miles Simon, which his backcourt mate. He was the shooting guard, and he also wore it in the same tournament one. They were national champions.
Yeah,
but that was it was a game changing shoe because it looked nothing like anything else that was out there.
That's true, man. That shoe was groundbreaking, man. Mike Bibby did debut him. I think Penny was rocking the Penny 2s at that time, if I'm not mistaken. When he actually came across the phone, he had already had the Penny 2s on. So when that shoe came out, Penny was already rocking his second signature at the time. So, I just could imagine that conversation they had when he seen that shoe and was like, I gotta have that shoe. And when Pippen talk about that shoe, Pippen basically, when it come down to it, he just didn't see the vision of that shoe. And that was with Pippen with a few shoes, what I'm saying? He didn't like the air bubbles in certain shoes. So even with some of his signatures, his shoes didn't have the air bubbles in them. No. He took them out. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't see the vision with the foams. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if that would have went another way with Pippen, but I think it went the way it's supposed to with Penny. You know what I'm saying? Because, I think they went too far with the colorways. I think that's what killed foams for a while, but now they're coming back. Foams are back. And I think if they do the right colorways, and then stop, we're going to be okay with the foams.
Yeah. I think it's in a great place right now because when we talk about the law of supply, and there's just enough supply. If you wanted it, you could have got it, and then it's gone. And we need any more Royals. I love the Royal. I'm a Knicks fan. So you had to have the Royal. and you know, I'm a hip hop fan, so you had to have the Wu-Tang. There was a Knicks one they actually did, that one was orange
Yeah,
with the
the
blue
Knicks was
middle and then blue
yeah,
highlights. So there's certain ones that hit. The copper one is amazing, and then if you're a foam posit aficionado, you had to have like the
yeah.
mirrors and the
And,
galaxy and some of those other
and
joints.
and you know, I like the Phone Posse Pro as well, man.
Yeah,
Like with the check
yeah.
on the side, man. I remember
Some
Tim
people
Duncan came out
don't
of those
didn't love
white and
this
black ones.
check. I didn't like it for a long time,
Man,
but many people are on the check. Like the white and black one now, when you look at it, is absolutely amazing.
crazy, bro. Tim Duncan used to look so fly in them
Yeah,
joints, man. That's crazy. Even the Royal ones, they dope. They dope. That's
yeah.
good shit. Good
Okay,
shit.
we top three right now. Who
We
do you
top.
got at three?
All right, man. Number three, I got the Olive Nines, man. I got the Jordan
I
Olive
love
Nine,
it.
my favorite Jordan of all time. I'm not a big Jordan guy, but that is my favorite Jordan. I got the 2012s. I didn't get the new pair. Maybe one day I'll grab the new pair, but my 2012s, I only wear them once a year, so they in good condition. But that's my favorite Jordan of all time. Um, I think that was a great retro. I did a lot of interviews with that shoe. Some people was, oh no, man, the 2012 better. Oh man, no, they shouldn't have done this shoe. Even some people saying it's the wrong time of the year to drop the shoe. Oh, they need to wait till they get cold. Or when did this become a weird shoe? I'm like, what? What? Like just because it's brown, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I love brown on the sneaker. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a fan of that kind of colorway on the shoe, especially brown and black. So, Olive Nines, man, that's my number three.
Yeah, that's a great choice. I love the Olive Nine, like to the point. It's like, wouldn't the all like, and I had the vision way before others. And so I had the Olive Nine. I remember finding one on clearance, like at Champ Sports, the first time at Retro, and it's like, wouldn't this be crazy if it was all black? So I took it to a shoemaker. We dyed the olive, we dyed it black,
Word?
and people with it, so it still had like the little hits of another color on the back, but I dyed it all black, and people were going, "What the heck is that?" And it's like, this is an Elmac original. This is like a masterpiece.
Right?
And until we started to get into the Kilroy era, when we started to having all of these nines come out, and I don't think people really wanted. There were some great ones, but I don't think people were all about. We got one that was like all black, and then was all black with a little bit of blue. But I had
Yep.
the vision way back in the '90s to dye a pair of olives, because
That's great.
I found another pair. I found it on Clear. It was like $69 that I ended up finding it for, so it was worth it. Like I had a crispy pair, and then I went and dyed this other one, and yeah, I rocked. I still rock all black when people. So I'm like, when did that release? And it's like,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got a story for you though. So yeah, that one's a good one, definitely. I got it my number three, and the top three, I could shake the list, and top three could be different tomorrow and different on Sunday.
True.
But number three, maybe the most important Jordan ever that was created, is the Black Cement 3, because of
True.
what what they had gone through with the Jordan 2, Jordan being injured, Jordan not liking the shoe. He was literally about to halfway out the door with Nike. And then Tinker Hatfield steps in, who is already, beloved by Nike because he created the Air Max 1, and now really kind of took them on a whole different level. He steps in, he talks to Mike, they work on things, they add some premium materials, visible airbag, which was the first time it was ever in a Jordan,
Yep.
a signature logo, and voila, we have the Jordan 3. White cement, me personally, I am in the minority. I love white cement more than black cement.
Yeah.
We got white cement last year in the reimagined one, but black cement is a go-to. I've had this shoe since the late 90s. I think the first time it ever retroed, I got that one. I didn't buy any of the more recent ones, so no 18 and no 24. I'm still rocking like 2011
Yeah.
and Countdown Pack. I still
Right.
rock it with the Jumpman. People say, "Oh, Lionel, like you the dude, like you should have one of these." It's like, I have a special one that has the Nike Air in the back. It is crumbling a little bit.
Right.
I'm
Right.
holding on to that one, but
Yeah.
in other words, I'm still
And you
I'm
should,
still
man.
making it happen. Like my 11, my 2011 is it's like it's a little shiny. It's okay. I like it that way. But it's an amazing shoe.
Yeah, true.
And it really means a lot to the culture. Like there's people that just come out of the woodworks to get their hands on a Jordan 3 anytime that one that drops.
Yeah, man. A lot of people was in my neck, man. They was like, "How you didn't have the Jordan 3 on?" I was like, "Man, hey, I'm already not a big Jordan guy. Okay, I only have 4 Jordans in my collection. Period. Okay,
That's unbelievable.
you know, I got the olive nines, I got the steel 10s, I got the Bordeaux 7s, and I got the playoff 8s. Those are my favorite Jordans. I mean, I don't wear no other J's because I'm like, those are the only Jordans I like that I really like that I wear. And I haven't worn those shoes in years, you know what I'm saying? But I got them in my collection because I'm like, the Bordeaux 7s just spoke to me. Like that colorway is just crazy.
Facts.
The steel 10s from the Martin episode. I mean, you just had to have that shoe. The playoff 8s, when Jordan had them joints on the court with that jersey, like it was just crazy. So some of them shoes you see it and it just hits you when you see it. Like, I gotta have, you know what I'm saying? And those are the ones that really did something to me. So, you know, like, man, how can you not like? I know what that shoe means. It is, like you said, might be the most important Jordan ever. Cause like you said, it changed the tide. Cause after that, I mean, it just went bang, 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 bang. I mean, it went crazy.
Yeah, we just were knocking him out after that.
I mean,
but that one was the one that changed the game.
Like that one really did change the tide. Like you said, that air bubble, that logo, and then the 4s, 5, 6. I mean, it just went crazy. It just went crazy after that, man. So you're right, man. That's the one that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what they was thinking on the two. And the tools still get love. Like my brother, he loved the tools.
I love the two. Love the two.
He love them highs, lows. He with them. Like he don't cut a cut on them. He like, bro, that's my favorite Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so that 3 really did change the tide, man. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
All right. Top two. Who we got at number 2?
All right, man. At number 2, we going to another sport, man. We're gonna go to tennis with the Andre Agassi Nike Air Tech Challenge 2.
Very nice. That was an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, those retro. Can't wait to see some more colorways. We got more colorways coming next year.
Yeah.
I got that shoe already. Didn't get this new one. I think Andre Agassi definitely needs more love when it comes to the sneakers because all of his sneakers are a hit. There's not many signature lines where everyone was a banger. Even now, when you're looking for his shoes, those are some of the most rarest, expensive shoes on the market. They all expensive. When you talk about Tech Challenge 2s, when you talk about 3s, when you talk about Challenge LWP, when you talk about Nike Air Alarms, like these are rare sneakers in the game that never retro. Some of them shoes never retro. Like, and a lot of people don't know that Andre Agassi had that heat, man. I'm glad
fire
retro this shoe, man. I got it up there. I put it up there because I think it's different in his line. I think it just needs to be highlighted more, man. I'm glad they retro them joints, man.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's definitely different. And you know, my boy Andy Stearns, he's been on the show before and absolutely loves that shoe. Now, this one, the one that they launched in 24, wasn't quite the same as the original. The colors were slightly off.
True.
But it's still dope. It's a must-have if you like that era. And again, law of supply and demand. Like OGs wanted it, resellers bought it, charged a pretty penny, and it's gone. You can't find it nowhere unless you go into StockX. Unless you could be fake. You could be buying it from GOAT, or you could be buying on eBay or wherever, right? But that is evaporated in the marketplace.
Yeah, man, them joints gone too. Like that's a good one, man. I like the. I like it.
So I got to take a page out here, and I see the shoe above your shoulder there. Diamond Turf 96 is my number 2. I've been for those that have followed the podcast and that know me in my personal space. Deion Sanders is my favorite athlete of all time. I got a chance to meet him. I think it was 2015 at a manager meeting. I got a chance to meet him, talk to him. I had to do the primetime dance on stage. He called me. He said when he was with Under Armour at that one point, and Under Armour had sponsored our dinner that night. It was something that I'll never forget. Him and I posted up in the back talking. We talked like 20 minutes, and we were like, and he's a South guy, right? So we ended up talking about fishing. We ended up talking about his family. And it was an amazing time. Eventually I did an Instagram post and he actually reposted it, and he shares that there's a reason why I needed to come to Canada to this Toronto meeting for Foot Locker, and that's where I work. And he had shared, my lawyer had just passed away, and I was under the weather, and I was almost ready to bail on this. But the reason that I came to Canada was to meet Lionel. I have two now Canadian friends that I'll have for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
One, he's known for like 25 years, and the guy that I met tonight, Lionel McDonald, is the other one. So I'm still enamored by that post. I have it like screenshotted. I look at it, it comes up as a Facebook memory every single year.
Yeah.
But to have Dion, so I was on Diamond Turf from jump.
Yeah.
Diamond Turf 1, Diamond Turf 2, DT4 Maxes. We used to throw it up. That was our set back in the day.
Yeah.
And I actually loved his line. It's great that how things came full circle. Like for him to be on so many different teams and teams not offering him a contract and him moving on. So he wins a Super Bowl with the 49ers. They don't offer him a contract. He goes to Dallas. He wins a Super Bowl. He gets another contract, but then he gets another 1 year and another 1 year. And eventually he's out the door and he ends up playing for Baltimore. It's like, how did you not keep a guy that helped keep your defense elite? He ends up goes to Baltimore as his career, or he ends up going to Washington first.
Yep.
Then he goes to Baltimore, and at age 37, his career is winding down. But then everything falls apart with Nike, and then we're not getting any of these retros, and we're not seeing his face like we're seeing Griffey and Barkley and so many of the other athletes that have these other great signature lines. He ends up at Under Armour of all things. We don't get no heat.
None.
Colorado thing happens, and obviously that's where with what he did with Jackson State started in him being part of being a coach with coaching his two sons, and then ending up at Colorado. And then we got the DT96 this year. We're getting the OGs. We're getting those next year. I'm sure we will get on a run with, and we got cleated versions. We have the regular sneaker version. There's an Atlanta Falcons version that came out this year. There was the Colorado home and away, which were with the gold trim in it. Bananas, crazy. But DT96, I'm a huge primetime fan. That had to be my number 2 on the list. Easily could have been number 1.
Hey, and it is my number 1.
Okay.
It's my number 1, man. I mean, that's my number 1 retro. I think that shoe was the best retro from the 90s, specifically this year for sure. Like, this the most it ever had this much hype on it, you know what I'm saying, with all the stuff that was going on in the social world. Because I'm like, I done had that shoe many times. I used to find that shoe at Marshalls and Ross, Burlington back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So we was getting that shoe $50, $60. Nobody cared about that shoe. You know what I'm saying? And now, that everything is out in the open, all this social media stuff, celebrities wearing them. Now they got a lot of hype on them, which kind of water them down when, because I'm like, we've been on this type of stuff. They did some more colorways, which was cool. I think they need to drop this Cowboys colorway behind me. They need to quit playing.
That one is so dope.
Insane.
I have not taken my eye off that shoe the entire episode.
Like, that's an 07, man. What are y'all waiting on? I don't understand. Y'all do it brand new colorways and y'all can't give us, you know what I'm saying? And I hope they drop the white and red ones as well. Cause
mine fell apart. Mine, the midsole went to dust.
Yeah, I still got that part too. They just need to be iced. But like you said, we getting the OGs next year. We getting those in the they call them draft day colorway. Some call them Baltimore colorway. We getting the money colorway, which is the white and like kind of sky blue on them. So we getting those in multiple colorways. We getting the emerald colorway. So that's 4 colorways we getting in the OGs next year. But that's my number 1, man. The DT96. Number 1 shoe, man. I love this shoe. I got this right here off of one of my homies. It's a crazy story behind the shoe real quick. So I seen this shoe on eBay. This was a couple years ago. He wanted like $400 for it. I was like, damn, that's a lot. I'm like, I ain't never paid that much for a shoe. I know it's rare. I wear size 12. I'm like, so when I see certain shoes, I'm like, I know it's not another this size out there because I would have came across it. Yeah. And I'm trying to negotiate. I'm like, all right, let me try to get some money together. Let me add some more. Let me try to do something. And then they was gone. I was like, somebody got them. I said, somebody that looked up on the only 12 on the market. Like, somebody got this shoe. So fast forward maybe like a year, and you know, when you lose those shoes, you don't forget it. When it's certain shoes, you're like, I never
100%.
forget I didn't get that shoe. And this was one that was on my hit list. Like, bro, I can't believe I'll never see another one. And I still haven't seen another one. Right. So I'm going to a sneaker show here in Dallas. And one of my homies coming down from Denver. And his name Lamar. He do shirts and stuff. So he was like, I'll be there. I was like, cool, I'm bringing some of my shirts. I made some Dion shirts. I was like, word? Yeah. So he made some primetime shirts, super dope shirts of him like with his jersey on with a bandana tied to the back, kind of cartoon style, super dope. And in that video, he pulled these out. And I was like, man, where you get that shoe from?
Whoa.
He was like, yeah, bro, I got these off eBay. And I was like, you paid $400 for that shoe? He was like, yeah. I said, bro, that's a size 12. He was like, yeah. I said, dog, that shoe got away from me. He was like, bro, if you really want it, I'll sell it to you. I was like, word? He was like, look, if you come pick me up from the airport, take me out to dinner, I'll give them to you half off. I was like, what? Done. Go pick my boy up. We go eat.
Bet.
He pulled the shoes out the bag. I was like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? So crazy story how this shoe came full circle. Just so happened somebody who bought the shoe was one of my homies. Anybody could have bought that shoe, but one of my homies bought it and he was willing to sell it to me. And that's how I ended up with this shoe, man.
The sneaker gods came through.
I'm telling you, dog.
Telling you, that is
crazy.
an unbelievable sneaker story.
Crazy,
Your
dog.
homie of all people bought the shoe.
Crazy. It's just crazy. And I'm like, bro, I
got it for half of what you were about to drop on eBay.
Yeah, and I had to wait a while. I thought they was gone forever, but hey, like you said, the sneaker gods worked in my favor, man. I mean, that did happen a few times with some kicks where I'm like, one of the homies was like, hey, I got that shoe. Was you looking for it? I was. And then boom. So yeah, shout out to my dog Lamar for that, man. You my dog for life. You know, it's still
Lamar.
Man, that's my dog.
Much love. I got to send this to him directly.
Yeah,
we had to drop that story. So that is absolutely amazing.
That's it right there. That's my number one.
Yeah, my number one. I am a huge hip hop fan. Never thought I would ever see this shoe and see the light of day. We have to throw up the set.
You feel me? Wu-Tang for the children.
Wu-Tang forever. Wu-Tang is for the children, and Wu-Tang is for those dunks. I remember I had to customize a pair of dunks, and to see that this shoe actually came out. And people don't know the story. Like, why is this shoe that important? Like Wu-Tang's been out since '93. Well, the original launch of this shoe, they only made 36 pairs. And many of those were gifted. A few of them ended up in, sneaker museums, rare collectors, like probably Mayer has an original pair. Maybe Fat Joe's got an original pair, but this shoe is not available. So this shoe now coming out in 2024, I can't compare the materials because I never seen the original one. Many people like me, I got a sticker and a Wu-Tang sticker and put it on the shoe, a pair of Iowa highs. This was my Wu-Tang dunk, and it's still my Wu-Tang dunk to this day. So to have the shoe in the marketplace, and again, this is part of, again, with the black toe, with the black cement 3, throw in the black toe 14 as I'm referring to, the olive 9, and then we had 4 amazing launches in a row by Nike in the month of November, like literally cleans it, banger, 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 banger.
Crazy.
So to have the Wu-Tang dunk came out on the 9th. Why is the 9th important? That is the day 36 Chambers dropped. The original launch date. It is the best hip hop release date. It released the same day as Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest. Arguably their best record. I prefer the Low End Theory, but it is widely popular and arguably the most played Tribe Called Quest record of all of them. So the 9th of November is a special day in hip hop lore, and what is so amazing about it. This is why it's number one. This is Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life, the podcast. And this is where sneakers and hip hop come together in one special moment to have this shoe release on the 9th, and absolutely amazing. So shout out to Nike for making it happen.
True.
Shout out to anyone that got their hands on. And again, this shoe really helped to bring generations together. So people heard about this shoe, people that are in their 20s, in their teens, but their dad likes Wu-Tang. I talked to a guy in the store. We talked for 30 minutes. And it was like, yeah, I had to get this Wu-Tang dunk. And at the same time, also, I've been bringing my child along and teaching them about music and how things connected and why this style was important. Like my daughter just went to bed, a couple hours ago. We were singing Tribe Called Quest in the living room. We're
Yeah.
from Midnight Marauders. So this is how sneakers and hip hop will forever be connected. And this one really commemorates how special when the two cultures essentially that are intertwined in so many different facets came together. So Wu-Tang Dunk, my number one.
Yeah. Yes. It's a good one, man. It's a good number one. Much needed. The culture needed this one. They needed
Culture
this.
needed it. The OGs needed it. Like,
Hey,
we were just
man.
looking at it. It literally it was a statue. It could have been in, the most famous museum in Paris or in New York or in London. And this is just like was the unattainable one. And
Yeah.
never coming out again. Wu-Tang doesn't do things over it. We don't retro Wu-Tang things. It's
Right.
like that. It's that Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, the album that they created, that there's only one copy that some billionaire bought, and he's holding it ransom for like $2 million. I think at this point they've recouped it, and it eventually will be played at some point. But
Yeah.
this is one that the culture needed. That they needed
Yes.
an original Wu Tang, and they could make a run on this. You could do Wu Tang Low. Apparently next year we're actually getting the reverse. So where it's black, it's yellow, and yellow, it's black.
Yeah.
That's coming out next year
Yeah. That'd
because
be
of the
dope.
energy we saw with this one. But again, Wu Tang Dunk number one.
I
So
believe.
Skoola, we've hit all 10.
Yeah.
So much love, so much knowledge that was dropped on this particular podcast episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, man.
Tell us again, how do we find you on Instagram? Again,
Oh man,
you're
come on.
70,000 strong, and I'm sure when a few people hear this one, they're definitely going to be jumping on the
I
page
hope so, man. I
and
hope
get some
so,
knowledge.
man. I hope so. I'm always, trying to reach out there to the people that's really, looking for something different, to show that it is a different kind of collector out here as well, that everybody doesn't just collect hype or new things, that, we still keeping some alive that is the foundation of everything that we own now, like every Jordan you buying, all of this is from that golden era, even with the clothes, I rock all vintage clothing. And I'm like, this type of stuff is timeless, man. And, all this hype stuff is here today and gone tomorrow, but this stuff is timeless, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy to be a leader that's representing the right way. So y'all can find me, Professor_Skoola, Skoola, on everything. Threads, TikTok, YouTube. You can find Professor Skoola on everything, and you're gonna see
All right.
me on there cheesing, doing my thing, man. So I appreciate everybody that's rocking with me, man. It's been a lot of love. Even you reaching out to me to do this right here, man. I really appreciate it, man. This is what it's all about, connecting my audience coming to you, vice versa, and really spreading the knowledge in the game and the love, passion that we all share that brings us together, man.
Yeah.
And this is dope.
Professor Skoola, schooling us, giving us some knowledge, giving us them jewels and them gems. So much appreciated. Thank you
Good,
so
man.
much for taking the time to be on the pod. We'll get this one out this weekend, but thank you everyone for listening. This was the top 10 for the OGs. We made this one for y'all. Those
Yeah.
that love the OG sneakers. We kind of, got to the tipping point where hip hop and sneakers came together. But thank you for your time. This is Sneaks, Rhymes, of Life. Lionel McDonald with Professor Skoola.
Oh, boy.
We out.
Hell, Matt.
One
Appreciate
time.
it, man.